A few weeks ago, I dropped in at the retirement party for a colleague of mine from my mediation days. I came right from the office, so I was in my clerical collar. I never wore my clerical clothes to mediation because I didn't want it to distract from the process. So none of my secular colleagues had ever seen me in my professional garb before. And apparently I looked like a different person. I had to introduce myself to some people that I'd worked for hours and hours with and known for years. One of them said, "Well, I guess we just didn't recognize the real you." That takes me to today's gospel reading. We've been talking about getting real with the gospel. Part of getting real is letting Jesus shine through me. Am I a transparent disciple? Some Greek-speaking Jews are in Jerusalem for the Passover festival, and they hear about this Galilean rabbi who's making such a stir. And they go to Philip, who apparently spoke Greek, and they say to him, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." Well, who can blame them? Water into wine at Cana, and bread for 5,000 along the sea, converting whole Samaritan villages, healing a man born blind, raising Lazarus from the dead. Now that he's in Jerusalem, there's no telling what Jesus might do, and they want to have a front row seat. Well, that's the Jesus I'd like to see too. I want to see the Jesus who will give me my best life now. I want to see the Jesus who solves all my problems and makes my life so simple. I want to see the Jesus who feeds the hungry and heals the sick and raises the dead, all of it without bothering and inconveniencing me. I want to see the Jesus who brings me all the benefits and none of the costs. We Lutherans, we call that the theology of glory. The theology of glory makes me the hero of every story, the Savior in every crisis, and the God of my own life. The theology of glory promises a life with Jesus with all the benefits and none of the costs. The theology of glory delivers a counterfeit Christ who's great for marketing, but useless for a meaningful life. If those Greek-speaking Jews had paid for their tickets, they would have demanded a refund. The hour has come for the Son of Man to be glorified, Jesus says. Very truly, I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains a single grain. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. We wish to see Jesus, so here he is. Jesus is God's human face. Jesus is God deep in human flesh. Jesus enters fully into your sorrows and struggles, your hopes and joys, your troubles and testing. Jesus dives so deeply into human flesh that he dies. He dies to produce God's abundant life for you and for me and for the world. As one of my former bishops loved to say, God would rather die than spend eternity without you. God would rather die than spend eternity without you. This is what we Lutherans call the theology of the cross. Do you wish to see Jesus? Then look for him in the word read and heard and preached. Look for him in the sacrament of the altar where Jesus promises to be present for you. Look for him in our open and honest conversations here about life and faith and hope and love. Do you wish to see Jesus? Then look for him through the cross. Look for him as the crucified God who saves us by serving us, who walks in the darkness by our side, who conquers death by dying for our sakes, and who gives us abundant life with God. Leonard Cohen captures it so well in his song anthem, Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. That's a contemporary expression of the theology of the cross. I walk past a mirror sometimes absent-mindedly, and I think to myself, what is my dad doing in that mirror? I'm shocked by how much I look like him. I wish that Jesus would shine through my reflection quite as clearly. Am I a transparent disciple? Will I allow Jesus to shine through my life in such a way that the world can see him? You see, people outside the church are not asking to see our fellowship or our friendliness. They're not asking to see our budgets or our buildings. They're not asking to see our mission statements or strategic plans. They just want to see Jesus through us. Well, I'm wearing my clerical outfits almost all the time these days. I haven't given up nice shirts and flashy ties for Lent. A clerical collar is a public statement of who I am and what I do, and you'd be surprised how many conversations I have at the grocery store or the restaurant or the library because somebody notices and wants to talk. Shirts and ties don't have the same effect. People wish to see Jesus through us. Now, don't run out tomorrow and invest in your own clerical collar. That's not what I'm suggesting. Instead, what are the ways that you can show people that Jesus shines through you? That's a question worth reflecting on this week. What are the ways that you can show people that Jesus shines through you? And in such a way that they might ask you why. It might be the story you tell about your life. It might be in your behavior or your spending or your taste in music or your kindness and care. It might be how you share your life with other people around you. People wish to see Jesus through us. Through us. Am I a transparent disciple? It's a season, when people think about, as they say, getting back to church. It's always interesting to me, the people who say that who've never been to church in their lives. But they still want to get back to church. Holy Week and Easter have that effect on folks. They start to think this way. I pray that you will take every opportunity to let people see Jesus through you in the next few weeks. Invite them to come with you to see Jesus here. We'll do our best to show them. And remember the promise at the end of our reading today. Jesus says, and I, when I am lifted up, will draw all people to myself. We can expect this to happen when Jesus shines through us. Will we be transparent disciples today and this week? Let's pray. Shine through us, gracious God, so that in our faces people might see the face of Jesus. We pray in his name. Amen. We sing in the cross of Christ, I glory.